Welcome to Heartline Stories. Today's story follows a millionaire CEO who unexpectedly spots his ex-wife at a restaurant. With her are two children who look just like him. What will he do next? Find out as we unravel this surprising and heartwarming tale. Make sure to stay tuned and let us know where you're watching from. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more exciting stories. One sunny afternoon, Robert, a successful CEO, decided to have lunch at his favorite restaurant. As he walked in, he noticed a woman sitting at a corner table with two children. Something about them caught his eye. Robert's heart skipped a beat when he realized that the twins looked just like him. The woman's name was Olivia, Robert's ex-wife. They hadn't seen each other in years. Olivia looked up and noticed Robert standing there, staring in disbelief. She smiled nervously and waved him over. "Robert, it's been a long time," Olivia said, trying to sound cheerful. "Yes, it has," Robert replied, still trying to process what he was seeing. He couldn't take his eyes off the twins. They had the same curly hair and bright blue eyes as him. Are these my children?" Robert asked, his voice trembling. Olivia sighed and nodded. "Yes, Robert. These are your kids, Max and Zoe. I wanted to tell you, but I didn't know how." Robert felt a mix of emotions: anger, confusion, and a strange sense of joy. He looked at Max and Zoe, who were now staring back at him with curious eyes. "Why didn't you tell me?" Robert asked, his voice filled with a mix of sadness and frustration. "I didn't want to disrupt your life," Olivia explained. "You were always so busy with work, and I thought it was better this way." Robert took a deep breath, trying to gather his thoughts. He knew he had to make a decision. "I want to be a part of their lives," Robert said firmly. "I want to get to know them and be a father to them." Olivia smiled, relief washing over her face. "I'd like that too, Robert. Max and Zoe deserve to know their father." Just then, Max and Zoe ran over to Robert and hugged him tightly. Robert felt a warmth in his heart that he hadn't felt in years. He knew that his life was about to change in a big way, but he was ready for it. As they sat down to eat together, Robert couldn't help but think about the future. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was determined to be the best father he could be for Max and Zoe. As Robert, Olivia, Max, and Zoe finished their lunch, the excitement of their unexpected reunion still lingered in the air. Robert felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility and love for his newfound children. He knew he had a lot to catch up on and wanted to make up for lost time. "Hey, Max and Zoe, do you like ice cream?" Robert asked, hoping to spend more time with them. Max's eyes lit up, and Zoe nodded enthusiastically. "Yes, we love ice cream," Max exclaimed. "Great. How about we go to the park and get some ice cream?" Robert suggested. Olivia smiled warmly. "That sounds like a wonderful idea." At the park, Robert watched as Max and Zoe played on the swings and climbed the jungle gym. He couldn't believe how much joy these two little humans brought into his life in such a short time. He made a silent promise to himself to always be there for them, no matter what. While they enjoyed their ice cream, Max and Zoe began asking Robert questions about his life. "Do you have a big office, Daddy?" Zoe asked, her eyes wide with curiosity. Robert chuckled. "Yes, I do. It's pretty big. Maybe one day you both can visit me there." Max's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Can we sit in your chair and pretend to be the boss?" Robert laughed, feeling a warmth in his heart. "Of course. That sounds like fun." As the sun began to set, they all sat on a park bench, watching the sky turn shades of orange and pink. Robert knew that this was just the beginning of their journey together. He had so much to learn about being a father, but he was ready for the challenge. Olivia watched Robert interact with Max and Zoe, feeling hopeful about the future. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but she believed that they could make it work as a family. Robert spent more and more time with Max and Zoe. He loved learning about their interests and hobbies. Max was fascinated by airplanes and dreamt of becoming a pilot one day, while Zoe loved painting and had a special talent for creating beautiful artwork. One weekend, Robert decided to take Max and Zoe to an aviation museum. Max's eyes lit up as he saw the huge planes and helicopters. "This is amazing, Dad!" Max exclaimed, running from one exhibit to another. Zoe found a corner where she could sit and sketch the airplanes. Robert watched her, impressed by her talent. "You're really good at this, Zoe," he said, admiring her drawing. "Thanks, Dad," Zoe replied with a shy smile. "I love drawing." After their trip to the museum, Robert realized how much he enjoyed spending time with Max and Zoe. He wanted to be a part of their everyday lives, not just on weekends. He spoke to Olivia about it. "Olivia, I've been thinking," Robert began. "I want to be more involved in Max and Zoe's lives. I want to be there for their school events, help with their homework, and support their dreams." Olivia nodded, understanding Robert's feelings. "I appreciate that, Robert. It's important for Max and Zoe to have you in their lives. We can work together to make it happen." Robert and Olivia came up with a plan to co-parent Max and Zoe. They agreed to share responsibilities and make decisions together for their children's well-being. One evening, as they were having dinner, Max and Zoe started telling Robert about their school projects. Max was building a model airplane for his science class, and Zoe was working on a painting for an art competition. "Dad, can you help me with my model airplane?" Max asked excitedly. "Of course, Max, I'd love to," Robert replied, feeling proud of his son. "Dad, can you come to my art show next week?" Zoe asked, her eyes shining with hope. "I wouldn't miss it for the world," Robert said, smiling at his daughter. Robert felt a deep sense of fulfillment and happiness. He knew that being a father to Max and Zoe was the most important job he could ever have. As they continued to share stories and dreams, Robert realized that his life had changed for the better. Robert settled into his role as a co-parent. He found joy in helping Max with his model airplane and was amazed by Zoe's creativity during her art show. The kids were growing more comfortable with Robert's presence in their lives, and their bond grew stronger every day. One evening, while having dinner, Robert asked Max and Zoe about their dreams for the future. "Max, do you still want to be a pilot?" Robert inquired. Max nodded enthusiastically. "Yes, Dad. I want to fly big airplanes and travel the world." Robert smiled. "That's a wonderful dream, Max. And Zoe, what about you? Do you still love painting?" Zoe beamed with pride. "Yes, Dad. I want to be an artist and have my paintings in big galleries." Robert felt a deep sense of pride for his children. He wanted to support their dreams and help them achieve their goals. One weekend, Robert decided to take Max and Zoe on a special trip to the mountains. They hiked along the trails, explored the beauty of nature, and shared stories around a campfire. As they roasted marshmallows, Robert shared a story about his own childhood. "When I was your age, I used to come to the mountains with my parents," Robert began. "We would hike, explore, and create unforgettable memories. I hope that we can create special memories together, just like I did with my family." Max and Zoe listened intently, their eyes filled with wonder. They felt a strong connection to their father and cherished these moments together. As the stars twinkled above, Robert made another silent promise to himself. He vowed to be there for Max and Zoe, to support their dreams, and to create a lifetime of memories together. The next day, as they returned from their mountain adventure, Robert felt closer to Max and Zoe than ever before. He cherished these precious moments and wanted to create even more memories with them. Back in the city, Robert decided to surprise Max and Zoe with something special. He had always wanted to share his love for flying with Max, and he knew how much Zoe enjoyed painting. So he made a plan to incorporate both their interests into one exciting day. One sunny morning, Robert took Max and Zoe to a small airfield where he had arranged a surprise. As they arrived, Max's eyes widened with excitement when he saw a small private plane waiting on the tarmac. "Dad, are we going to fly in that?" Max asked, his voice filled with awe. "Yes, we are," Robert replied with a smile. "Today, you're going to experience what it's like to be a pilot." Max was over the moon with excitement. Robert introduced him to the pilot, who explained the basics of flying and even let Max sit in the co-pilot seat. As the plane took off, Max's face lit up with pure joy. He couldn't believe he was flying. Meanwhile, Zoe was equally thrilled when Robert handed her a sketchbook and some colored pencils. She sat by the window, capturing the breathtaking views from above in her drawings. Robert watched her with pride, amazed by her talent. After the flight, they headed to an art studio where Zoe could unleash her creativity. The studio was filled with colorful paints, canvases, and inspiring artwork. Zoe wasted no time and began working on a new painting, while Max explored the different art supplies. Robert felt a deep sense of fulfillment as he watched his children pursue their passions. He knew that supporting their dreams and spending quality time with them was the most important thing he could do. As the day came to an end, Robert, Max, and Zoe returned home, their hearts full of happiness and excitement. They had shared an unforgettable day together, and Robert was determined to continue creating these special moments. Robert's bond with Max and Zoe grew even stronger. He found great joy in being involved in their lives, from helping Max with his model airplane to admiring Zoe's beautiful paintings. Robert cherished every moment he spent with them and felt a sense of fulfillment he had never experienced before. One day while they were all having breakfast together, Robert had an idea. "Max, Zoe, how would you like to visit my office today?" he asked with a smile. Max's eyes lit up with excitement. "Yes, Dad. Can we sit in your big chair?" Zoe nodded eagerly. "I want to see where you work, Dad." Robert was thrilled by their enthusiasm. "All right, let's get ready and head to the office." When they arrived at the office, Max and Zoe were in awe of the tall building and the bustling environment. Robert introduced them to his colleagues, who were delighted to meet his children. He showed them his spacious office, complete with a large desk and a stunning view of the city. Max wasted no time and climbed into Robert's big chair. "I'm the boss now," he declared with a grin. Zoe giggled and joined him, pretending to answer the phone. Robert watched them with pride, feeling grateful for these special moments. As the day went on, Robert's colleagues noticed the change in him. He seemed happier, more engaged, and full of life. They admired his dedication to his children and saw how much he had grown as a father. That evening, back at home, Max and Zoe couldn't stop talking about their visit to the office. "Dad, your office is so cool. I want to be a CEO like you when I grow up," Max said excitedly. "And I want to paint a big picture of your office," Zoe added with a smile. Robert felt a deep sense of pride and joy. He knew that being a father to Max and Zoe was the most important role he could ever have. As they sat together, sharing stories and dreams, Robert realized that his life had taken a wonderful turn. He was ready to face any challenges that came their way, knowing that they would always have each other. Robert found himself eagerly embracing his new role as a father. Every moment with Max and Zoe was a precious gift, and he cherished every smile, every hug, and every "I love you" that they shared. One sunny Saturday, Robert decided to take Max and Zoe on a surprise adventure to the zoo. "Guess where we're going today?" Robert asked, his eyes twinkling with excitement. Max and Zoe exchanged curious glances. "Where, Dad?" they asked in unison. Robert grinned. "We're going to the zoo!" Max and Zoe's faces lit up with joy. "Yay, we love the zoo!" they cheered. At the zoo, they saw all sorts of amazing animals, from playful monkeys to majestic lions. Max was fascinated by the aviary, where colorful birds fluttered around. "Dad, look at that parrot. It's so pretty," Max exclaimed, pointing to a vibrant bird. Zoe, on the other hand, was captivated by the giraffes. She stood in awe, sketching their graceful necks and long legs in her sketchbook. "Dad, can we take a picture with the giraffes?" Zoe asked. "Of course, Zoe," Robert replied, taking out his phone to capture the moment. As they explored the zoo, Robert couldn't help but feel grateful for the time they were spending together. He knew that these moments would become cherished memories for all of them. Later that evening, as they were driving home, Max and Zoe chatted excitedly about their favorite animals. "Dad, can we go to the zoo again?" Max asked. "Absolutely," Robert replied. "We can go whenever you want." As they arrived home, Robert felt a sense of contentment. He had found a new purpose in life, and it was more fulfilling than he had ever imagined. He knew that his journey as a father was just beginning, and he was ready to embrace every moment of it. As Robert tucked Max and Zoe into bed that night, he felt an overwhelming sense of love and gratitude. He kissed them goodnight and promised to always be there for them. The next morning, as they sat down for breakfast, Robert had an idea. "How about we start a new family tradition?" he suggested. Max and Zoe looked at him with curious eyes. "What kind of tradition, Dad?" Max asked. "Every Sunday, we can have a special family day," Robert explained. "We can do different activities together, like playing games, going on trips, or even just having a movie night at home." Zoe's face lit up with excitement. "I love that idea, Dad. Can we start today?" "Absolutely," Robert replied with a smile. "What would you both like to do today?" Max thought for a moment. "Can we build a treehouse in the backyard?" Zoe nodded enthusiastically. "Yes, that sounds like so much fun." Robert loved the idea. "All right, let's get started." They spent the entire day working together, planning and building the treehouse. Robert taught Max how to use the tools, and Zoe helped with painting and decorating. By the end of the day, they had created a beautiful treehouse that they were all proud of. As they sat inside the treehouse admiring their work, Robert felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He knew that these moments would become cherished memories for Max and Zoe. He was determined to continue creating special traditions and spending quality time with them. Robert, Max, and Zoe enjoyed their special family days and continued building their treehouse, adding new features and decorations. Each moment spent together brought them closer, and Robert cherished every second of it. One Sunday, while they were sitting in the treehouse, Robert looked at Max and Zoe with pride and love. "You know, being your father has been the best thing that ever happened to me," he said, his voice filled with emotion. Max and Zoe hugged Robert tightly. "We love you, Dad," Max said. "We're so glad you're here with us." Zoe nodded in agreement. Thank you for being the best dad ever." Tears welled up in Robert's eyes as he hugged them back. He knew that his life had changed in the most wonderful way. He had found his true purpose and happiness in being a father to Max and Zoe. As they sat together in their cozy treehouse, Robert realized that the journey they had embarked on was just the beginning. They had so many more adventures to share and memories to create, and no matter what challenges they faced, they knew they would always have each other. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you have any other requests or need help with anything else, feel free to let me know.